My biggest youth ministry fail is losing a deaf and mute kid in a crowd of 30,000 people. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Youth Group Chronicles. I just have to say, you're all really in for it.
Honestly,
I'm already nervous.
I'm so excited.
Everybody knows Isaiah Smallwood.
Yo.
I think you're kind of like TikTok famous at this point.
Only on yours, because I got 300 followers on mine.
And then,
if you're listening to this and you don't follow me, shame on you.
And we have my good buddy Antonio Sanchez,
what up?
and these are two of my best friends.
Oh my God!
Just for tonight,
Oh my-
it
I'm
might change.
That's crazy.
Just for tonight.
Honestly, these guys seem like they came into the studio with Red Bull right
Yeah.
before this. I'm excited but nervous.
I had Red Bull, so you're
Antonio's
almost right.
never done this before,
No.
but Isaiah,
You know
you're a
me,
seasoned
baby.
pro.
You know me, baby. I love making fun of folk. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I gotta change up my facial expressions because people are getting mad.
No,
at
they
every
like
video.
them. I say you keep doing them.
Here's Zay with the every time. So
It's that blank face, just like
it is. I just feel like
you have a
half of
very
these things
judgmental face is what
are
it
like
is.
dumb.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
No, it's true.
Like you should just like Squirt Squad. That was honestly one of my favorites. I use it as my
What was
fantasy
it?
football team.
Yes, you did. Everyone was wondering why you named your fantasy football team the Squirt Squad, and I had to explain that you're not that sus.
So bad. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go watch it now.
Did you hear that story?
No.
What was it? There was a guy.
During COVID,
Yes.
there was he was a youth pastor. He got a whole bunch, like a group of young people, to go throughout the church and clean the church. And he was like, I'm gonna get t-shirts made. He went to like the board and everything like that. And the t-shirts were going to say Squirt Squad. and and everybody was like, that's probably not a good idea.
Can't
and
name your
him
team
being
this.
like, him on his Titus 1:15 where it says to the pure, all things are pure. I understand, I get it. But I feel like you should still, as a youth pastor, understand what Squirt
Look at
Squad
everything through the
sounds
lens
like.
of
Absolutely.
That's wild.
Of a 13 through 17-year-old
Yes.
young man. Absolutely.
Before we get started, if you're listening to this and you want to send in a story, we use them all the time on the podcast. Email them to ygchronicles@gmail.com.
I can also give you Sam's phone number here so that you can send them to him.
Do not text them to me. You'll get blocked.
You'll get blocked.
You know what the worst thing is? I get all the ads and all the like spam texts from the previous guy that had my number. It's like,
Oh yeah, same.
hey
Everybody
Tim,
does.
here is
Yeah.
dot dot dot.
Everybody
It's oh come on.
Mine's is Chester Ellsworth.
You're lying.
I'm dead serious.
Mine's
I'll pull up
Tim
a
Seeley.
picture of it.
Chester Ellsworth.
He sounds rich, right?
No. No, that's not what came to mind,
He
brother.
doesn't sound rich. I feel like indubitably. You know
No,
what I mean?
he sounds like a guy that works at like White Castle. And never mind. That's it. Works at White Castle. That's it.
You're so
Let's do it.
Okay. First story. This is from Marco. One of my worst youth ministry fails was when we rebranded our student ministry logo and design. We spent about $3,000 rebranding shirts, banners, postcards, invite cards, stickers, you name it. So pretty much a clean sweep of everything. I was just told by one of my leaders who has 25 plus years in law enforcement experience that it took him a minute to realize it, but our new logo was similar, if not almost, I didn't even say anything, you're already laughing, if not almost identical to a neo-Nazi white supremacy group / gang activity logo design.
As soon as it came up, you said police. I was like, it's gang related. I knew it's gang related.
He said, I thought I was being trendy. What I've seen other student ministry designs with lightning bolt and smiley faces, I just combined the two, and I ended up having to retrieve every single item we've given away or that people have purchased.
Question.
I would have loved to see a picture.
Is it an evangelical church?
I don't know.
And is the youth pastor like white? Because I feel like that would be terrible.
I mean,
Whole bunch
It
of
would,
white
though.
kids just running around with this.
the white supremacy shirts on. Yeah, this is from our church.
New church merch, dog.
New church merch.
Oh my
Are
goodness.
you sure that's a church?
Yeah.
I don't know, Timmy.
Do y'all meet in the back of someone's house? Because that's what it looks like.
$3,000
What do you
down
do
the
with
drain.
the cross? Like, do you,
I can't.
is there fire by it or something?
This is exactly what I
That's
warned everybody
hilarious.
about
Oh
prior
my
to this
gosh, my head
episode.
is already hurting. This is crazy.
This is actually from Pastor Aaron. He wrote this in. This is a good one. He said, one summer while I was in Bible school, I was serving at youth camp as part of the worship team. After lunch, our normal sound check for the worship team was going on, and another leader and myself went into the auditorium early to turn on the speakers and make sure everyone was ready when the rest of the worship team arrived. Knowing we were the only ones in the auditorium, my friend told me to play some music from my iPhone to test the mic, the mic level versus the music level. So naturally, I put my phone on shuffle, and of course, Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne, is that how you pronounce that?
No, you
Bro, it's
didn't.
Avril
No,
Lavigne.
he didn't.
Avril, there you go.
No,
Avril.
he didn't.
Sam's fired.
That's crazy. That's a
Homeschooled.
classic.
He's homeschooled, though.
I don't know.
Arville.
Avril, there you go. It's no big deal. And I thought because it was me and another young adult, this was just a radio version. And this was just a radio version. We both start singing and have some fun blasting the song quite loud. To his dismay, he said, when it gets to the part where it says, bleep, yeah, I'm the mother effing princess, it wasn't the clean version, and we weren't alone. The camp director, his grandma, and a few young
Not the
children
grandmother.
were having lunch backstage, and they just so happened to appear during that one line of the song.
Grandma had to pass out.
Nah,
I feel like she passed out.
She could have.
The what?
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can do
No.
at that moment.
You can't even stop it.
That's happened to me coaching, though. Straight up happened to me coaching.
In the foyer of our church, on one of our great friends, Alan, his wedding, we were all getting ready, and I had my phone on shuffle. Mind you, I listen to gangster rap music sometimes, so I have my phone on shuffle, and we were listening to some good Lecrae music, right?
Hey,
Now all of a sudden, Trigger Finger by Lil Wayne comes on.
I mean, that's the heat, though.
It's heat.
It's heat, but not to play.
But the first 2 seconds of the song has the N word in it, and you can.
Were all
you
the
can
kids
kinda
around?
guess. Bro? There was it was like his tab's New Year's. It was the New Year's party.
So everyone
going
was
on
out there.
down the hall. So
You should have sent that in.
the
That's
F
great.
word came on, and everybody's just like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Turn it off!
Turn
You
it
should have
off.
known by the beat. It's not godly. I don't. This is fire
Oh
beat."
my. Laura wrote in and said, one time my youth pastor husband made a special batch of cookies for a lock-in. The night before, he made the grossest cookies you could think of for a fun challenge for the kids to eat. So he put mustard,
Those weren't the cookies I was
kimchi,
thinking.
soy sauce, hot sauce, etc. Each cookie had a different weird ingredient. So when he baked the cookies at the church, he ended up just leaving them there. The next evening, as he was prepping for the lock-in, he realized some of the cookies were already missing. And that's when he realized in horror that there had been a funeral earlier
Oh, no.
at the church that no one knew about. And typically when there's a funeral, the church provides a meal. So some poor churchgoer found the cookies and must have assumed they were for the funeral. That explains why they weren't all gone.
Right. They were like, dang, they had a bad day. A funeral and bad cookies. That's bad. How much harder do you cry after that?
That's crazy.
You had to go there.
I lost my aunt, and now these cookies. I'm gonna be on the toilet for 45 minutes tonight.
Who puts mustard in Yo, I'm crying,
Man, there's
bro.
no cream filling in cookies anyway. Who does this? What kind of sick, twisted church? I'm never coming back here. That's crazy. This one had mustard in it. What is this?
It had to have been someone that had never been to the church.
Oh my
and they were
gosh.
like, oh, this seems like a nice church. Maybe I'll visit here. No.
Their cookies are
man,
trash.
they ain't
I'm
never coming back to
this
church.
no.
Last time I went to church, they tried to kill me.
They tried to kill me.
The cookies
There
had
was
mustard
mustard
in it.
gas in the
The
cookies.
mustard gas. Not mustard gas. That's crazy.
Goodness.
You guys are wild.
Wow.
Oh.
That's great.
The Beat 95 wrote in and said, my biggest youth ministry fail happened at my first youth conference event. I was the main speaker and my sermon was titled Fishers of Men. As a demonstration to be fishers of men, I brought 2 live fish. I took them out of the water with my bare hands, threw them on the ground, expecting the youth to freak out and put the fish back in the water. But everyone in the crowd just stood there in shock, staring at the fish, and no one moved a muscle. Needless to say, that was the last time I was ever invited to be a main speaker at a conference.
They just watched the fish die.
They're like, I ain't touching that.
Can we leave animals alone as Christians. Can we do that?
That's not as fun.
Like,
Yeah.
no. Here we go. Public service announcement. Put the animals down.
Like put them down?
Like, not put them down as in die.
That was a terrible choice of words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Public service announcement. Leave the animals alone. Like, if I was in that crowd, I got my best clothes on because it's a youth conference, so I'm trying to be all cool and stuff. I'm not about to touch no fish.
But you said save the animals, so would you have done it?
No. I'd have been right there.
You're a
like,
hypocrite.
No, actually I said leave them alone.
Okay.
I would have left it alone. No, I'm not, no.
Zay
Leave
needs
the
a shirt
animals.
that
No,
says,
because I'm mad.
Christians for PETA.
Because I'm mad.
Red the Pastor said my biggest youth ministry fail was when I booked a float/camping trip for our youth group. The problem was where I booked it. I had been on the river once before with my family at the end of summer and no one was there. I figured it was like that all summer long. What I failed to realize was this particular river was known for being one of the wildest party rivers in our state. There were highly intoxicated people stumbling around the campground, falling over, all while I was teaching a little Bible study around the fire with my youth group. An older lady that was highly intoxicated in the camping spot right next to ours made a loud comment saying, "What idiot would bring a bunch of kids out here?" To which I proudly yelled back, "This idiot youth pastor."
I have nothing to say to that. I mean, he knew he was getting himself
he
into.
got it. He got
She
it.
said it all. I have nothing to say.
She said it all.
Hey, proud of you.
Ben said, my biggest youth ministry fail is losing a deaf and mute kid in a crowd of 30,000 people. While attending a large-scale concert and festival, we decided the buddy system was best.
He just rolled
Stop.
away like
You
that.
can't do it.
Yo. Keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I told our teens to make sure they always have a buddy and to report back often. A couple hours into it, the student comes up by himself. I asked him where his buddy was, who was the deaf and mute kid, and he shrugged his shoulders and said he hadn't seen him for a while.
I was trying to call to him, but
Antonio, no. No. Because when he said I haven't seen him, I was going to be like, neither has he you. Yo, we can't do
Is he
this.
blind? I thought he's just deaf.
oh,
He's not blind.
oh, okay.
He's just deaf. He can't- You're dumb.
Real tears.
Nah,
though.
this is
my
crazy.
Oh my
gosh.
goodness.
So they didn't find him.
They didn't find him. After frantically searching with others in the group, he was nowhere to be found. To make it worse, the police and the security on the site asked what he was wearing, but I couldn't remember. After 45 stressful minutes, we located him with another deaf kid that he had met. Lesson learned was to always take group pictures before youth group events.
I'm sorry, dude.
Hey, birds of a feather. They probably knew how to communicate. I'm just saying. I'm
They
just
have like a
saying.
distress signal.
They probably knew how to communicate with each other. You know what I mean?
breathe, bro.
I don't.
He's like, just eye contact. Hey, you deaf? Yeah. With their hands, you know what I mean? You know
Okay, we got to go to another story. This
You
story-
said eye contact.
Yo, they're not
That's
blind.
crazy.
They're not
They're not
blind.
No, I'm just saying, like. They,
Okay, I got to go to the next story. Oh, deep breath.
My-
I have
said
legit.
crying,
I have
bro.
tears in my eyes right now.
you really picked them today,
Yo,
man.
facts.
I should have done that story with someone else.
This is
That's all I gotta
crazy,
say.
bro. Why would he do this to us? He tries to get me every time, man.
Oh, this is from Zach. I was interviewing.
That's crazy.
Oh, this is so bad. Okay.
Oh my
Not the story,
gosh.
the other story. Okay, from Zach. I was interviewing for a youth ministry role in another state that I was both excited and nervous for. The church flew me out on a Wednesday night to meet the prospective students, tour the church, and meet the elders and the pastors. As I'm hanging out with the students playing basketball, spike ball, tossing a football around, the normal stuff when meeting new students, we finish up playing and go to the youth room, and we have dinner as a youth group and do our session. I taught the lesson, and the kids were sent off to life groups. However, This is where one of the male sponsors came up to me and told me that one of the high school boys noticed I had ripped my pants, and not just my pants were ripped, but also my underwear. And I preached that way in front of the entire youth group.
Butt cheek out.
I don't know what was out. I'm hoping it was just butt cheek.
I feel like you should know that your pants ripped. Like with your underwear.
He did find out.
A slight breeze without somebody telling him.
I don't know. Apparently not.
He just thinks a breeze on his butt cheeks is normal. That's not it.
Not normal at all.
No.
What? When Isaiah gets silent, that's when things are not good. Yeah.
I'm just envisioning him talking about Jesus while the nut just swinging.
Hey, yo! Hey, yo! You're wild! That's wild. No, that's
It's
wild.
just swinging, boy. That's crazy. How do you not feel that? How do you not feel that?
That's what I'm saying.
You are not in touch with your body at that moment.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, what is going on?
No, he doesn't know his body.
Like, what?
There's no way.
Balls just hanging.
I wonder what he was doing, but
Like,
how he
come
ripped his
on.
pants. I want to know how he ripped
And
his
you in
pants.
front of kids, boy?
He probably ripped it during a game. That's my guess.
That man was probably playing
Going hard and
dodgeball.
spike ball.
Never mind. Never mind. Him laying hands on folk.
Oh my gosh. No.
Like, I just
Who invited you to this?
this is crazy.
Chelsea said, one time our youth pastor came in a suit and started teaching about Superman for a sermon illustration. All I really remember was him ripping open his shirt to reveal a padded Superman costume underneath. But he ended up ripping it open a little bit too hard, and one of the buttons shot off into the crowd and went down a kid's throat.
Yo. What?
Yeah. The kid accidentally choked on it. Yes.
Yeah. It just
How
ran
close
quiet.
was he?
It just ran quiet in the room. And then little Tommy
And
just
then
in the,
like Superman,
in the second row just choking.
Superman, you're just gonna stay
That's
there,
crazy, bro. Y'all, I have the worst imagination possible. I'm just letting y'all know.
They're realizing that.
This is crazy.
what? Yo.
His neighbor's like, oh.
That's a lot.
Alex emailed in and said, here's a youth group lesson I should have gotten arrested for, but didn't. I'm a bald, 6 foot tall guy with a mildly athletic build. In 2007,
Yeah, he didn't have to say that. I mean,
in 2007,
sin proof.
You're so
Sin
annoying.
proof, Alec.
Oh, in 2007, my senior high kids were talking about the movie Hitman. In my ultimate wisdom, I was inspired to forego my normal jeans and button up and don a black suit and a red tie as visual aid. My intention was to discuss the importance of them bringing a Bible to class while teaching from Matthew 10:28, which is, do not fear those who kill the body because they're unable to kill the soul, but rather fear him who can destroy both the soul and the body in hell. I had been doing a series on how to biblically develop a healthy distrust of adults who discourage questions or challenge the Christian teaching. And I wanted each one of my students to see that their knowledge of the Bible was the best defense against poor teaching from a teacher or even a preacher.
That's good.
So that bright Sunday morning, as I stood in the gym in front of the students and spoke about the dangers of spiritual hitmen, see how he tied it all in there, okay, who teach from bias and worldly wisdom, I abruptly drew my unloaded Smith & Wesson Model 39
My boy shot
II
a kid.
from the hidden shoulder holster
No.
to the stunned shock of my students. I proceeded to talk about whether or not they were afraid to die, how they should not be afraid to bring their Bible to class, and this was the true and best weapon against poor teaching. He said, in my defense, while this was stupid beyond belief, I had removed the firing pin at home. Once class ended, I found myself explaining my reasoning to several parents and eventually the church's board of elders. Really?
I feel like dude was an actual assassin. Like,
He was just testing them.
yeah, just testing him. You know, which one am I going to take as my opponent? Which one showed the less fear?
I was at a conference, and I was wielding
Shout
a
out,
Nerf
bro.
gun, right? And this pastor came up to me, and he was just like, hey, can I borrow you for our church? And I was just like, yeah, man. He was like, yeah, I just really want him to know what it's going to feel like in a few years. And I was just like, what do you mean? And he was just like, yeah, persecution practice. I was like, son, they're kids. He was just like, we got to lead them now.
With a Nerf gun?
So that they'll know. Nah, he was talking about.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm available. I'd love to.
Please sign this contract that says I am not liable for anything.
That's crazy. But nah, he really said persecution practice. And I was just like, how you just practice that? Like,
I don't think well, okay, there have been a few stories they have practiced it. I don't know if they've come out yet, but some of them were basically they burst in with guns to the youth group and like hold the youth pastor at gunpoint.
What?
Basically teaching them like, hey, this is what persecution is, and all the kids are like hiding under the chair. There are a couple stories I've read about
traumatic.
that. Yeah, I'm like, these kids are still.
That is traumatic.
These kids are still in
this is why
counseling
people
today.
Leave the church.
Yes,
that's
like
wild.
Actually, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's wild.
I
would not go that far.
I would cry of laughter.
You can't do that here.
Nah, they can't do that
here.
No,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Everybody,
you would be dead.
Yeah.
You'd be shot.
Yeah, everybody would. Most
100%.
definitely.
David said, my biggest youth ministry fail was when we had an invite night in the main sanctuary. We knew that there would be a lot of students in our multi-purpose building where we normally had youth group wouldn't hold us. We had 2 students who wanted to get more plugged in who were DJs, so they asked to DJ the night. After service, they went up to do their set. They had asked if they could bring a fog machine, and we told them yeah, because who doesn't want fog? Turns out it was a smoke machine. In the middle of a song, before their beat dropped, one of the staff members of our church went on stage, stopped everything, and yelled out to the crowd that they needed to leave because there was too much smoke. When we turned the lights on, the entire main sanctuary was filled with smoke, with the alarms going off all over the building. We even had to call the fire department to come back and suck the smoke out of the building for us. That sounds like something that would happen here. If you have some stories that you'd like to send in and featured on this show, email them to us at ygchronicles@gmail.com.
Or text Sam.
No, don't text me. But you'll be seeing more of these guys, Antonio and Isaiah. Thanks a lot, guys. Check out TikTok, all this content. We chop it up into some fun videos. And then Youth Group Chronicles on Instagram. But other than that, see you all next week.
All right.